Hi, everyone. And I messed up all my intros today. Welcome to Open Mic UK. I clicked on all of them, intro and out for Montreal and at the end for the UK. Lovely day. We have
It's all perfect.
all perfect. Always,
Absolutely.
always perfect. And we have someone in the studio with us today, Paul. Welcome to Open Mic UK. Thank you for joining us, and also
Thank you.
co-host Kathy. Paul, tell us about yourself a bit before we jump into questions, because I'm sure a lot of people know a lot of they have a lot of questions. So go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So a little bit of background about me. Basically, when I was at school and growing up, I didn't believe in God. I didn't question the spirit world. I didn't question heaven. I thought, yes, maybe heaven's there, but I didn't necessarily believe in it because it wasn't really. I grew up as a gay man, so my childhood was very difficult, obviously with bullying, blah blah blah, and of course you think to yourself, well, if there's a God, why am I going through this? So never really questioned it. When I was in school, obviously we did science, and science taught us that energy never disappears. So then that kind of changed me from atheist to agnostic, so I could possibly believe in something, but not necessarily. And then in 2012, I was engaged to my partner at the time, and he passed to spirit very, very abruptly. He had a lot of health conditions. They all kicked in. Literally within 4 hours, he was gone. And then I started to go and see mediums because his family had been to see mediums after his mum died 5 years before. And they had lots of information coming through, which they couldn't understand. And they obviously, she was giving information that they had to believe. And then my mind was kind of opened, and I thought, well, if they can go to see about him, then maybe I can go and see about him as well, but about her, and I can see about him. So I started to go and see mediums at the S.A.G.B in England, and messages were coming through, but not just from him, also from my grandparents, some friends that I've lost, and other family members. And it blew my mind. So it was comforting to know that he was there. But because I was still in love with him, and it was such a massive shock, I spiraled down. Obviously, I'd gone through losing him, and then I just hit depression, and I became suicidal. And I thought, well, if he's there, if I finish my life in a good way, if you can see it from a different point of view, I thought, well, I'll be with him. Everybody can mourn all of us going at the same time. I now believed in life after death, so I knew that we would all be together again at some point. So it was kind of logical, but obviously it wasn't right. And spirit stepped in. They kept me alive. And then I was starting to see and hear things while out on the street, smell things. It was really bizarre. And I couldn't quantify what they were or understand what was happening. So then I saw 2 different mediums over the course of a weekend at the S.A.G.B, and they both said the same thing to me. They're dangling a carrot. They want you to work for them, and they're fast tracking you. So here I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, glad you decided to stay with us, Paul. And
no choice.
By the way, hi, Kaylee. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions for Paul, please ask. Interesting. So how did you, like you said, you heard your messages? Is it and just to explain to people how it comes,
sure.
Is it through sound, real sound, like somebody's talking to you, or is it
back then? No, back then it was more observational. So I would be driving down the street, for example. I knew I needed to turn my head to the right. It was kind of instinctive. I needed to turn my head on this particular occasion, where I saw a hairdresser's I've never noticed before, and the name of the hairdressers was something Hopkins, which was his surname. And so that was a little bit odd. And then I would go to St. Paul's Cathedral on the anniversary of his passing to light a candle. And then this particular year, I was heading back to the S.A.G.B to have a reading. As I was coming back into Victoria on the tube, which was pretty empty carriage because it was midday, I could smell this really strong perfume, which was exactly the smell that I bought him for his birthday. It was a scent from the White Company. It's diptyque, so it's very specific. It's like a fig smell, so it's very strong and very, very particular. and that was that. So it was then kind of more outside influences, and then obviously I started developing from there and started sitting in circle. And then yeah, it's all kind of progressed.
Interesting. Oh,
Mhm.
it's amazing hearing another story similar to mine. Lost a very good friend unexpectedly, and I'm sure it's what started the ball rolling in my own spiritual journey. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, losing someone is kind of like, and especially the story that you mentioned, it shock, it puts you in a
Mhm.
state of shock,
Yeah,
and it basically changes a lot of perspective that you had on life.
totally.
So
Yeah.
do you believe that's like the key for all of this, or you had an inclination to hear spirit, but you kind of like dismissed it in before, or you didn't pay attention to it, and it all started to come up after that incident?
There was literally nothing before 2012, nothing at all. There was, I think I was just busy with it, you know, the usual 20s, 30s. You know, I was enjoying myself. I was clubbing and work and degree, etc., etc. So I was very much focused on everything else. But
Okay.
I do feel that I needed to go through that extreme loss. Obviously, I lost my grandparents, which was tough, but I needed to go through that extreme loss and then go on a completely different journey. And then, and as you know, obviously, as you progress through life, you have to go through lots of different experiences to have the ability to talk to people that are still going through the same thing. So I've been through addiction, I've been through obviously suicide attempts, I've been through recovery and blah blah blah, and it's because and every single time, especially it was cannabis addiction. When I realized that I was addicted to cannabis, obviously I needed to do something about it. It was only, a joint a night, but it was out of control for me, and it didn't feel right. And then I acknowledged, and I said to Spirit, I said, this isn't right. And then they confirmed it was an addiction, and I was like, oh, okay, right. So that's why I've gone through this. Consequently, I've helped other friends go through addiction to other things. So I can talk to them compassionately on the same level, instead of being kind of trying to be helpful, but knowing it's going to sound condescending or critical. So it's nice to know that I've been given a different perspective where I can come through from a healing side as opposed to a judgmental side, which is what it kind of was before. So yeah, open my eyes.
Have you done any healing modalities, or at
I've
all,
done.
like before or after the incident?
Well, I've trained with. I've done Reiki 1 and 2 for healing. I don't tend to use Reiki much at the moment because I say I'm as I said to you before we started. I'm Spirit have now moved me more into trance and physical. But that obviously for me is the healing side of things. So we know that the seances that we do, and Spirit actually confirmed this last week. They've said that, you're going to be helping hundreds, if thousands of people, with just the healing, the energy, just the energy we even create in the seances is obviously being sent out, and we send it out not just to the world, we send it out through galaxies, different time zones, etc. Because we know that they're all working with us.
So you started doing seances recently, or this has been progressing?
No, 6 years now.
Oh, wow.
6 years, yeah. It's pure dedication. And back in the early days, again, Spirit got me into it. I went to a demonstration. I received a message from a medium I know, and she said, your granddad wants you to experience physical mediumship. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what it was. I was only aware of mediumship and trance, but I didn't know what physical was. And it turns out that was a seance, and she welcomed me along to sit with Scott Milligan. So I sat with Scott, and yeah, and then they kind of they would say, Spirit said that we don't know where we want you to go yet. They had the analogy of me being in a washing machine with all the skills that they could give me, but it turns out they've given me all of them. So it's like, well, why have one when you can have? But I've said to them, give me everything, and I will work with everything, and I'm very happy for that. So yeah, the seances were about 6 years ago, and we do them every Wednesday evening. We've got a low number of sitters at the moment, but when as Spirit have said, sitters will come and go.
Where do you host them?
Actually in the room I'm in now. This is my old spare bedroom in my house. So
and
it's
where are you located?
in London. Yeah, in London. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just up from Brixton. Yeah,
Okay.
so nice and central.
So when
I
you
just
say
want to ask a question.
seance,
Yeah, go ahead.
when you say seance, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of the games that we played as kids, and you know
Yeah.
what you see on movies. Tell me what yours looks like.
Yeah, quite different to those, because obviously they've been hyped, as it were, for telly, which is also quite damning for this work, because obviously it's all over elaborated on telly, so people have this fear. Yeah, I'm going to say fear of it, you know. But the amount, when I talk to people, when I say, "Oh, we do seances," like, "Oh, that's really creepy." I don't want to get involved in that, because they don't know, they're not educated on what actually happens in a seance. So everything that happens in a seance, even though it could be fantastical with things happening, obviously with orbs, temperature changes, etc., it's the spirit world's way of proving to us that the two worlds are connected. And sorry, they're just confirming that now. I get goosebumps when I get confirmation from spirit. So it's the way. So they're doing whatever they can in this space. So we've had lots of things happen over the years, from cushions falling off of the sofa when they're actually right up against the sofa. One of the sitters, she had a hairband, a very tight hairband on her long hair. At the end of the seance, it was on the floor by the door, and I didn't know where it had come from, and she realized that her hair had been splayed out all across the back of her shoulders. She wasn't even aware that the hairband had been removed. So it's all sorts of things. They can bring things into the space, they can take things out of the space, they can, I've seen mediums be pulled in out of the cabinet, turned around and put back in the cabinet, all sorts. So for me, I've got this I like to be excited by what's going on. So they know that I'm so, I can't think what the word is. I'm so into doing physical mediumship that for me it's an absolute passion. So every week you don't know what's going to happen in the room. So it's going to be something different every single week. So yeah, for me it's super exciting.
So people come to hear to speak to a loved one.
Yeah, at the moment, because it's such a long time to develop for physical mediumship, they do say it's a good 10 years before you get to the stage where people are coming through to talk, to communicate. So for us, it's been a massive roller coaster. We started off with about 8 to 10 people right in the early days. For now, Spirit are happy to be working just with 2 regular sitters who are amazing. We've got a really good energy between us. But we've had all sorts. So Spirit will talk through me in the physical mediumship with their voice. Okay, so my trance work is it's my voice box, and it sounds like me, but it's them obviously giving the like channeling. So it's them talking through me. But with the seances, it's never my voice; it's always Spirit's voice. And there was I think it was April, about 2 years ago, there was literally a succession within 6 minutes. We had 6 or 7 different communicators, and they would come through from a very deep voiced Irish man, and then it blended into someone else, and the voice was literally blending between each voice, and it just became one continual voice, but obviously with different points of view. It was incredible. When I play the recording back, people was like, "Well, how have you done that with your voice?" Easy, it's not my voice. So yeah, it is very fascinating.
Wow.
So basically, physical mediumship is when Spirit speaks through your vocal cords.
That's right. Yeah, there's a number of things they can do, but they can also create a voice box, which can be it could be moving around the space. They haven't with us yet, because even though we've done 6 years, for us it's still early development. So we know that they've told us last week there's lots of things going on behind the scenes that we don't even know that are happening. But they've told us, don't worry, because we're doing things in the space that you've never experienced before. And they did laugh. They said, we're also doing things that we've never experienced before. So a seance is it's a place where they can experiment. They can use the energy that's being created from the sitters, and then they can do things within the space. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kathy, you have something? I just don't want to interrupt, but go ahead.
I feel your excitement. This work makes you happy, right?
Massively. Yeah.
And you're because it's fun for you, physically fun for you. You like to help the people. Tell me about that. I see.
Yeah. Because it's a passion for me. with all of my mediumship, I just want the best for the people that are coming to experience it. So for me, I don't call it a gift, because for me, it's a job, but it's the best job that you can ever have. For me, the gift is the person that's receiving any form of message from their loved ones in spirit. We're the medium, so we're the go-between. But yeah, when it comes to trance and physical, it still blows my mind, because we do a practice trance course. There's 3 of us in the group at the moment, and Spirit have kept it as a 3. It seems to be working in 3s, but they've kept us as a 3. And whenever I don't want to lose my train of thought, but when we're doing the trance, it's amazing. Have either of you done trance?
A bit, a bit. I for some reason it starts and I just move on, and I guess I can't sit straight for a long period of time.
That's fine, but that's the thing with trance. You don't need to sit for a long time, but it's just again with physical, you have to develop it. So you have to be dedicated with trance. So we do this every Tuesday, and for me, we're giving healing to each other. So we will have a 20-minute healing session for each other, and then we will then go on to give messages to each other at the end. But of course, the messages aren't from us. They're not even from our team. They're from the person that's receiving the information's team, telling them what they need to know. But we're not just working with, I will say, a human spirit world. We've got multi-dimensional beings working with us. This week just gone, you forget what comes out of your mouth, because it's not for you. It's not for the information to be received. But you do they let you hold on to nuggets. And I remember the first thing I said this week was to the person receiving the message that her team said, we've traveled so far to come to give you a message today. So we know that they're from different galaxy, different time zone. I mean, they might be from 3,000 years in the future, because there's obviously no such thing as time. So for me, it's just it's massive. It's so huge. We can't quantify how much is out there that we don't know. We're tiny in comparison to what's going on and how everything's connected. And yeah, it blows my mind. Really blows my mind.
What do you do to prepare for these seances? Is there a specific ritual that you have to follow? Or?
Yeah, the seances actually proved quite interesting. I can only work in the morning till about 1 o'clock. Okay, we do the seances in the evening at 7 o'clock. So from the hours of probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I've had my lunch till 6 o'clock, I'm extremely tired, because I know that they're taking energy, they're doing things with the energy, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. They haven't told me. I don't need to know. But I know that I can't physically do anything job-wise for the afternoon of Wednesday. So I know I've said to myself, that's my afternoon off. I will literally switch off, watch telly for the whole afternoon, or sunbathe if the weather's good. And then around 6 o'clock, I start to. I'm still present, but I'm just really tired. If you know when you don't eat for a good few hours and then you start shaking, I get to that stage at 1 o'clock. If I haven't eaten and I'm still working, then I will start to shake. So I have to ask Spirit to just step back, or just give me another half an hour if I need to finish something. But yeah, generally I'll just switch off on a Wednesday, and then around 6 o'clock in the evening they start to bring me back to full energy, and then I'm ready for the seances at 7 o'clock.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's a big process.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's pure dedication. Okay. In the early days, when I was told I needed to do physical, the first thing that came out of my mouth was like, I can't dedicate an afternoon or an evening of my life every day of the week, every week for the rest of my life. And then I thought, well, I go to the gym 3 times a week, so why can't I give Spirit an hour, an hour and a half, to do it? And then since then I've never looked back, and I know I never will. I can't see me ever stopping doing this, because they've given me, they've told me what is coming. I will be traveling around the world doing this, and it's all healing. That's for me, that's the most beautiful thing. I'm healing hopefully hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people, just by sitting and allowing Spirit to work with me. And that for me is an honor, and I'm so humbled by that. Yeah.
Then let me ask you guys, am I destined to do that type of work also? Because
yeah, you are. Sorry, that's why you're talking to me. They've just told me. Yeah, you are. Not
because
yet.
no, I get that. I get that. I'm not ready for it. But the thing is, I used to receive messages in a different format.
Okay.
Pictures, not much of sounds, but pictures and stuff like that. And now it just get transformed into more of a knowing
Yeah, that's right.
with a bit of imagery that comes in and out. And
Yeah.
because we do host a spirit cafe, Kathy, Susie, and I on once a month.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was giving a reading to this lady, and what I noticed is that I was telling her from a point of view of the spirit.
Yeah.
So it wasn't me, but my voice did not change. I wasn't doing a physical of any sort.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're this, and I go, oh, what I just said, and it happened multiple times,
Okay.
different occasions. Is that it just like things come out of my mouth without even knowing what I'm saying.
Well, that's trance. That's trance. That is basically is trance. If you can't remember it, because as I said earlier, it's not for you to remember. As long as the information goes to the person that needs to receive it, that is basically trance. So they've taken you in there, and now at least you're aware of it. So yeah, and they're saying this is how it's going to keep working for you. So it's almost like you don't. I feel as if you don't necessarily need to sit for trance. They're just going to keep working with you on this level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the knowing and the blabbing out of my mouth without even thinking about it is the actual trance. Sorry, I'm putting it in a bad way, but
that's right, blurting trance. Yeah. But no, that is it. Yeah. Well, don't forget Gordon Higginson. You know, when he started off, he was 12, I believe, and he did his first demonstration on the platform. And the medium that was supposed to be doing the reading to start with, they didn't turn up. So they asked Gordon if he wanted to do it. He was obviously too scared. He wasn't sure. But Spirit took him into trance. They got him on the platform. He did everything, and then afterwards he wasn't even aware that he had done the trance work. So they can just step in. It's fantastic to know what they can do or have an inkling of what they can do. I mean, they haven't even touched on the surface with us, but if they want you to go, not like they're controlling you. Obviously, you've still got the free will to say no or whatever. But I've just given them free reign, literally, to do what they like. Just because I know that it's never going to be bad. It's only ever with love, and I know that it's always going to be the right thing for the right people.
yeah,
So, yeah. It's trust, full trust. It's taken me a while to get there. Even now, they say you're still not trusting us, even though I feel I am trusting 1,000,000%. But yeah, I suppose it's just a natural progression through life. But the more I do it, as you say earlier, I'm fascinated by it. It's incredible.
Yeah,
you mentioned your team.
Yeah,
Talk about your team. What does that mean?
team. Wow. Yeah. I know it's a huge team. I don't know who they are. I've never needed to know who they are. I've never even. Obviously, we've been told. I've been working at the college, you know, the Arthur Findlay College, and they've said, you know, a number of mediums have said you don't necessarily need to know who your team are because they're going to keep changing. We've got the ones with us from the beginning, but I know that if for me it is half and half. So half of my team are, I will say, humanly spiritual, and then the other half I know are multi-dimensional beings, and they're working from everywhere. So it's interesting to see how it's all coming together. I mean, if we knew what was going on upstairs, I'm going to say upstairs, how incredible just to know that we're so much more than what we are on earth. And that was the hardest thing for me to get my head around. When I knew that I was going to be training to be doing mediumship and healing, it was like, well, I'm just a builder in Clapham, in Brixton, in London. You know, I just feel I'm just this regular guy. But when you receive all this information from in trance, from spirit and multi-dimensional beings, that you're so much more, it's quite hard to get your head around.
Yeah.
Very hard. So
What about the people around you? How have they been with getting their head around what you're doing?
Surprisingly all right, actually. There's been a few naysayers obviously in friends. My dad doesn't necessarily believe, although he has heard quite a lot of information from me, giving other messages to some of his friends that are in the spirit world and my mum's friends. So he's heard enough. So I think he probably would be more on the fence. We don't discuss it because there's no point, because he would always say, he always says to me, how much are you earning from it? It's like, it's not about money, Dad. It's never about money. And that's the last thing on my mind. But the rest of my friends actually have been pretty open about it. My husband, his mum does tarot readings, so she's connected with spirit. So that's why we've been brought together. I've got one friend who does not believe whatsoever. I've got another friend who lost his mum 2 years ago. And again, he didn't believe either. We went for dinner last week and his mum came in, but through a roundabout way. We talked about something else. I'll tell you quickly what it was. His partner went to a summer camp and they went to see a tarot reader, and the tarot reader said to these two guys, "You're connected, but not as partners." He said, "You've both got the same first name. They're both called Ben," which was right. So that kind of picked up his information. It picked up his interest. So then I told him, "Well, your nan is here," and I gave him some information from his nan, which blew him away because he's never had a reading from me. But he kind of believed. And then, of course, his partner's listening. And then he said to me, "Well, I know my mum is watching down on me from heaven." And I said, "Well, why would you say that if you don't believe in the spirit world? If you don't believe, then you don't believe in heaven. And as far as you're concerned, your mum is dead," which is what he said 2 years ago. And he said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, maybe," and I said, "Well, look, your mum is here. If and when you want to, we can have, you've got to be very tactful, as you know." I said, "If you want to, we can do a reading at some point." But then she just came through really strong. And she said to me, she said, "No, the time is right now. You can talk to him now about this." And she was telling him so much things about his dad, how his dad's going through, he's become a recluse, he's locked himself away, and she's trying to help on that front. And she was just giving him all this information, and he had tears in his eyes, and it was beautiful to see, because it was like, that is just pure, I'm getting goosebumps now. That's pure healing, and I could see it in action. And he went outside, just he needed some air, and it was just beautiful. He came back in and he said to me afterwards, "I need to sit down and have a reading with you." I said, "Yeah, you do, absolutely." But it was so nice to see his mum had held back for those 2 years just to give him time to get over it and understand maybe what had gone on with the loss, etc. And then she knew when time was right to come in with the healing, and spirit always know. So yeah, it was beautiful, really beautiful.
Really beautiful. And then the minute people, I guess it's easy to think that your mom is watching down on you, and maybe a little bit more difficult, the further out it gets.
Yeah.
But the proof, and in the group that I work with, we try and get people to notice the synchronicities.
Yeah.
Like you said that was sort of at the beginning of your story, looking out the window and seeing your partner's last name.
Yeah.
I'd continue to still need proof. Why do we do that to ourselves?
We're human. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got all
I'm
the
the same.
terminology too. You call it what you call it, and this is what I do. And I'm always trying to figure out, like, what do we call what we do? How do you describe it? What?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. In fact, Spirit actually told me off a few weeks ago. They said to me, they don't want me to call my physical mediumship, but they didn't tell me what they wanted it to be called. So, well,
Come on, people.
I actually quite like saying physical mediumship for me, because there is that separation. If you say trance, then you can go to a trance demonstration in a fully lit room with a medium that's in trance giving you a demonstration, or a one-to-one trance reading. But for me, physical mediumship is a seance. You are in, for now, for me, a blackened room. We are full blackout. And they've said they don't want any video cameras on. They don't want any recording devices. They want full blackout for now to help things develop faster. And they've said that they can build the energy faster and greater in a blackened space. So we have full blackout, and then they've said you can have 10 minutes towards the end where you can put the red light on, and then you can start seeing obviously transfiguration phenomena, etc., or whatever form of ectoplasm they're using, because I still don't know. There's 3 or 4 different types now, and apparently they've changed. They're working apparently with protoplasm at the moment, but I don't hear spirit. So if I'm doing anything, This is what you were saying earlier. It's the knowing. So they've kind of allowed. I feel like they've allowed me to just go with my gut instincts, and if I feel it's right, then it is right, and it doesn't generally actually it's in fact no, it's never wrong. If I follow my instincts, then I know it's right because I know I'm being guided with it.
So when you talk about having the message from your friend's Nan,
Yeah.
How are you doing that? That's a knowing. Do you have an image of what she looks like? What is that like for you?
Predominantly it's a knowing. So I will just be talking, and then not trance, but I know that, but the words will be coming out, which is what I found with the platform work as well. So if I'm giving a message to someone, it's not like I'm waiting for information or I'm looking for it. That's kind of early stages of development. So where I'm at now, I will literally just talk, and I will know that whatever is in my mind, or it's not even, it's hard to explain. It's not even in your mind. It's just, this is what you were saying earlier. You just talk, and you know that whatever you're going to say about that person is exactly what they've given to you. And obviously our human self doubts that information sometimes. Oh, well, maybe it's not that. It's learning to trust fully in spirit, knowing that you are always going to give exactly what they want to give to you. So I won't generally go to them and ask them to give me this. I don't want dates. I don't want anything. I don't want anything specific. I allow them full reign of what that reading needs to be, or what that message needs to be to someone. So I don't have the checklist of, oh, you need to give 6 dates or the previous address or blah, blah, blah. If they want to give that, then they will. But for me, they work on a very personable level. So they will come through with more of a less factual message. There is facts in there, obviously, for them to prove that they are there, but they will come through nearly always now on an emotional level. So they will come through letting them know what they're going through, that they're there and they're in a good blah blah blah. So knowing it's just a good feeling message, as it were, but obviously with some factual stuff in there, so we can still take the tour around the house or the village and where the streets were, etc., etc. Yeah.
Nice.
So your sessions are on Wednesday evening, is that it?
That's right. Yeah, seance is Wednesday evenings and the trance is Tuesday evenings, but at 9 o'clock in the evening. So it's a bit of a struggle. Yeah.
Well, Kathy and I are going to be in London, so we would
Brilliant.
love to join you during that time, either
Definitely.
Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on.
Definitely.
We actually would love to be there in person with you.
100%. Come to a seance. Yeah, you will love it. It's such a lovely thing, because the thing with the seance, if you go to a medium or you sat in a demonstration, you go in, you experience the message, you'll feel the energy of the space, and then you'll leave. But with a seance, you could have the worst day, and it could be chucking down outside with rain, or you could be freezing cold, and you get into this space. We start off with 3 instrumental songs at the beginning from some 7th wave music, which are just stunning pieces of music. But Spirit have given them us to, I know they've given them to me to put in a specific order. That the 3 that they run, they kind of run into each other, and it just washes away everything that was going on outside. It calms you down. If you've had the most stressful day, these 3 songs, they will just calm you right down. And then you can feel the energy changes in the seance room constantly. So sometimes it can be like this Wednesday that's just gone, a bit like I am now, quite excitable. I was super excitable on Wednesday. I had no reason why, but then obviously maybe they needed that energy to give to the space. And then halfway through, the energy just changed and it all just became nice and subdued. But you always leave with a smile on your face, and there's always something to talk about after the seance. So yeah, it's certainly a thing to behold.
And we talk often about people show up and they're afraid for some reason, and I feel so strongly that I've never heard anything negative
Not at all.
from spirit ever.
Yeah, exactly. This is going back to what you were saying earlier. People see it on the telly or in films.
Right.
So everything spiritual on the telly or in films, it's either a joke or it's something bad or something to be feared of. You only see ghosts at Halloween. It's like, well, spirit needs factual representation on TV now and in films, because as you just said, there is nothing bad. I've never experienced that. There is a dark side to mediumship. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I know a medium that has dabbled in the dark side. I never have. I never will, because we're working in love and light. But there is, Spirit have said this. There's yin and yang. So if you've got a penguin, you ask some people, well, is that a white not penguin, a zebra? Is that a white zebra with black stripes, or is it a black zebra with white stripes? And Spirit said this, no, it's a zebra. So you're going to have good and bad in the world, but it's only good and bad because we say it is. So if something is bad, for example, a dictator, that is his or her life journey. So they've come here for that reason. Yes, for us, it's bad. And, you can't deny that it's bad, but it's obviously needed in the world. So Spirit, they're trying to educate us at the moment. So they're trying to let us be aware that there's lots of things going on in the world that we can't comprehend. But there is good and bad. But you need the good and the bad. So yeah, they're trying to educate from many different angles at the moment. And you might be aware, I'm not sure, but there's a lot more. There's an uprising of physical mediums and trance at the moment as well. So there seems to be this massive uplift of it. They want to get the message out, and they need to, and the younger generation, they're a lot more aware. And it's like the past is it's changing now into a present where people can access information better as well. So yeah, it's definitely a good time for change.
Yeah, that's why we're with the Spirit Cafe.
Yeah, there you go.
Guiding people into that direction.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
We have a question from Instagram. It says, my oldest daughter is struggling with substance abuse. She uses them to numb pain and her feelings. How can she be helped? And what can I do?
Is she talking to anybody? That's the first thing. Because if she's not trying to solve the root problem, which is what the situation, the people that I've been dealing with addiction, they don't necessarily want to solve the root problem. So you really need to sit and talk to someone to try and establish what the root problem is. So at least you know what it is. And then once you're talking about it, things will just gradually become easier. And if she's in a position where she wants to get out of the position that she's in, then that is going to help. And I know the Spirit will obviously be helping on that front as well, because I've seen it. So I've seen the natural progression that people go through. So to start off with, they'll be in denial. No, there is no problem. I'm just doing this, but there's a problem because you're doing this. So that is always the symptom of what the problem is. So it's always a question of trying to sort the problem out. So whether seeing the doctor or seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist or someone to at least get her to start talking about what the problems are, but always know that journey is going to be guided by Spirit. But also that journey is what your daughter has agreed before she set foot on the earth. So I don't know if this person is aware. The incarnation that we are on earth, so this person that you see on the screen now, I'm going to try and keep it as light as I can. This is part of your true self. Okay, so your spirit being is in the spirit world. Okay, so part of you reincarnates into multiple different dimensions, different versions of yourselves, but you have to do that to go through different life lessons. So I've done past life regressions where I've been an Indian girl in the year 2 BC. I was in the Ottoman Wars as a warrior. Blah blah blah. I've been killed in China by an emperor. But that is because I've had to go through and experience I've done bad things in previous lives as well, playing with dark magic. But these are all things that we need to experience. So your daughter is going through. It's the experience that she's expected to do, that she's agreed with herself. Okay, so you can be there for her, give her as much help and love as you can, but always know that Spirit are also going to be right behind you. So all of your family, your loved ones, your guides, your helpers, everyone is going to be there helping you. So trust in them. Definitely trust in yourself, but also trust in your daughter. Okay, so just give her the love that you can and know that everything is as it should be. And it always will be as it should be. and then hopefully things will start to look up and she will go in the right direction. So, but just all you can do is just give the love. As long as you've got love coming out to your daughter and she's surrounded by love with everybody else, it can only go in a good direction. Okay.
Yeah. What she was saying is that she talks to people, but not in total honesty. Like she's having.
She is being honest. Did you say she's talking with total honesty?
Without no.
She's not. She's not. She's hiding. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Again, I would say just be there for her. If you can just keep loving and just observe, and then yeah, it is a tricky one. She is going to need some kind of help where she can talk openly to people that not necessarily are going to be family members. So I would say definitely go and try to talk to a doctor or someone along those lines, just to get an understanding of what's going on. Okay.
I see half. I see her struggling between the good and bad, and having an internal struggle with herself to be able to express it. That's what I just got now, and but yeah. I can't see the future where it's going to go. And okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We don't. The spirit aren't going to give us the future on this. This is very much. I feel is very much an evolving thing, but and I'm just sensing from spirit it is. We are there. We are behind you. We're helping you every step of the way. So just be a loving mum. Be there for her, and just try to help with however you can as things go. Yeah.
Okay. She thanks you. Us too.
No problem.
They need to hide, and she has her questions. Not sure if you yeah, we are taking personal questions, not too many, but here you go. I would love a message from my boyfriend in spirit.
From her boyfriend in spirit, right? Okay. Right. Okay. Right. He's just coming in, so I'm feeling. As he's coming in, he's just making me aware that there were stomach issues with him. So there was something that was really bad around his stomach. Okay, so I know that there's an uncomfortableness there. I feel it's yeah. He's taking me straight to his stomach, so I know that whatever was wrong with his stomach was for him was very. It was very hard for him to deal with. It's very hard for him to get his head around because it was such an emotional thing. He's saying that he's normally a level-headed guy, so he could see things from a very clear perspective. But when this happened, it just kind of clouded everything for him. Are you getting anything from her at the moment? Can she confirm this kind of stomach condition?
She did not know. She didn't answer. She didn't reply.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But all right, okay. He's actually turned this around. He's saying that she doesn't need to hear.
She just said yes. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He's just turned this around. Oh, bless him. Tell her now. Actually, I'm going to say it. I know you've got goosebumps as we speak. Okay. So I know that your boyfriend is with you. That's his way of confirming that he's with you. And he wants to say that you don't need to know that he's all right. He's checking that you're all right, which is why he's engineered you being on this to listen, to connect with him, because he wants to make sure that you're in a good place. He's saying that you've been through a lot emotionally, and it's been very, very draining for you, and you're still struggling. Okay. And he wants to take away all of that struggle. He wants to take all the pain away. He wants to let you know that he is with you all of the time. He loves you so much, and he wants that to be the last thing that you hear from him now. Okay. He wants to say that he loves you so much. Everything is going to be all right. He knows that you're struggling, but he wants to take all of that away, and he's there to help you. And he's just made me look at my wedding ring. So if you're not, there was that on the cards. Okay. He wants to say that he is with you forever. So in his eyes, you were married. Okay. You are married. You are as close as you can be. You are inseparable, and you are going to be. But he's saying that it's time for you now to live your life and to start enjoying each day as it goes. Okay. Because at the moment you're not. So he's saying take all of his love, because he's with you all of the time, but enjoy every single day now. Okay. And and move on in a good way, but knowing that he is with you and he's doing everything he can to help you. Okay.
Awesome. Oh, here we go. 100%.
Yeah. Good.
You got to stop.
As we said earlier,
well,
Spirit are always right. They always know.
For some reason, we lost you for a split of a second.
Yeah, I noticed the screen went. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Good.
So back to our conversation. I'm just checking while we're here. I check on Instagram and over here because not all the messages come in.
Yeah.
So again, thanks for everybody who's joining us live on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you very much. If you have any questions you want to ask, please go ahead. We still have 15 minutes to go, and we're having such a blast with Paul Beauchamp.
Yeah.
So Paul, you said physical is not something that Spirit wants you to name it per se. And the minute you were talking about a physical mediumship, I didn't take it, although I know what it is, it didn't sit right.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there is some type of a negative connotation to it within the majority of the people, whereby they'd rather rebrand it in a way to make it more appealing, rather than having those whatever imagery that you've seen. We've all seen them on TV, tables move and there's people underneath it that move it, and all these funny little stuff. Katie has a question. Got stuck on the phone at work, so we'll have to rewatch everything. Not a problem, Katie. We're still here. If you have any questions, please go ahead. Feel free to ask.
I wonder if the problem with the physical word is we all struggle so much with trust, and maybe that's just another call for why do we have to prove it so many times over and over?
It's constant, isn't it? Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, it is. But it's so nice though when it actually happens, because in my early days of training, I would go out of my way to try and prove to someone and give them a message from Spirit, because I just wanted to I wanted everyone to believe what I had just found out, because it's so mind-blowing and incredible. But then, of course, you get the people that don't believe, and then you got the people that are sitting on the fence. And then Spirit said to me, probably about a year or so ago, said, you don't have to prove it to anybody. We'll do the work. You just do what you're doing, elevate yourself, be the best that you can be, and then everyone's will want to be like you. Because I with my partner, he's a bit lost at the moment. He's kind of doing lots of things, and his life just seems quite chaotic. And I can see from my side what he needs to do to simplify things, but because he's going through what he needs to do, I'm not the person that can tell him what I know he needs to do. I literally have to stand back now and say nothing, because I know that it's his journey. He has to learn everything that he's going through, and when it gets to a point where he can't take any more of the clutter or whatever's going on, that'll be his breaking point, and then he'll want to change something. So no matter how much I nag him to say, oh well, you could be doing gardening instead of being a restaurant manager, it's not my position anymore. So I don't now. I literally just stand back. As far as the clutter goes, he's trying to get rid of stuff. He came back the other day with 5 used pots of paint. Well, he's got nothing to paint, and we don't need any paint. So I literally bit my lip, and I have said nothing. It's killed me, but I've literally bit my lip and not said anything, because it's not my place. If he's happy, then that's all that matters, really. And that's what goes back to the lady earlier with the daughter. As long as you're being the best mum that you can be, then that's the only thing that's going to help your daughter, and that's going to help help her on her journey. So that's all we can do as mediums. We can just be the best that we can be, which is why I give myself such a hard time if I'm doing platform or trance work. If I feel it hasn't gone right, I will give myself a hard time. But it's only in the last few years I've actually come to realize, well, hang on a minute, I've done my best while I've done that. And if that's how I can honor Spirit. So as long as I'm giving my best, even if it wasn't right for me, as long as that person has received the right information, they've got the right message from their loved one, then job done. You know, I don't give myself a hard time because I've showed up, I've done the best that I can, and I know that healing has been sent. So it's all a place of love. So, you know, as you both know, as a medium, we love everybody because we just want everybody to be the best that they can be. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about reincarnation?
Oh dear.
Don't believe in it, okay? As a Hindu, it's been taught to us that it's real, and I believe it, but lots says it's not true.
Well, there's lots of different stories, lots of opinions about this. I mean, as far as the SNU goes, they don't believe in reincarnation, but from on my side, I know that there's reincarnation because spirit have come through and told us many times. So this is what I was going back to earlier. So the person that's messaged in, this is what I was saying before, that you will be doing multiple lives. They do believe now that you're doing all of your lives concurrently because there is no such thing as time in the spirit world. So the belief is that you might be a man in China, and you could be a fifth dimensional being somewhere else, you know. So this is the thing, we haven't been told officially what's going on. It's kind of nice not to know officially what's going on, I know, because they're giving us as much information as we need, but maybe there's things that we don't need to officially know. So but I do thoroughly believe in reincarnation. They have said, I did a trance demonstration right back at my early stages of development, and it was the medium was giving the trance demonstration, and he was in trance for about 45 minutes, and the person that was it was his guide that was communicating, was an Indian gentleman, and he said that all of you that are in the room now, you've had multiple lives. You have been a murderer, you've been a rapist, you've been the victim of a murderer, the victim of rape, you've been a shopkeeper, you've been a pilot, you've been all these multiple different versions of yourself. He said, but if you're here now listening to the spiritual talk, then that means you're on your spiritual path. So you don't necessarily need to come back again, but you have the option of coming back if you want to. So, you know, I've said to spirit, well, bring me back in 500 years if it's nice, just to see what's happened and where Earth is at. But yeah, we're always connected with Earth. So, you know, when we talk to our loved ones, my late partner, when he passed, it was the same mannerisms and the same jokes and the same comforting things I was hearing from him. But as time progressed, so after about 10 years, I had a message through from him 2 years ago, and it didn't sound like him. The message wasn't like he was talking. It was very much, I knew that he'd progressed up through the spiritual realm. So he came through and he said, my friend, as opposed to, you know, the terms of endearment we had. And so it was very much talking to me kind of like a guide, but because I'm aware of what's happening in the spirit world, the progression up through the realms, it didn't freak me out, and I was able to listen to it. So yeah, it's interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes and where it's all coming from and where it's going.
Yeah. By the way, you managed to answer a couple of questions for her, and she thanks you for all of that. We have one more question from Kaylee. Any advice on working on self-trust? This is the biggest issue that everybody faces. Self-trust. Like, do you have any practices you do?
No, I don't. But I find that the more I'm doing my mediumship, I in that respect, I feel I'm quite blessed actually, because I've always kind of had I've been good with self-trust. I've always kind of trusted in what I do, because I know, you know, if you're a good person, you know you're going to be doing good. Okay, so I feel that it's hard to talk about that, because if I haven't had lack of self-trust, then it's hard to know where to come from. But I would say just believe in yourself. And this is what we mentioned earlier. You're here for a reason. Okay, you're on planet Earth for a reason. So your true self is in the spirit world, and you've agreed with your true self, and anyone that's around you. So you're in a soul circle. So people that are in your soul circle, you would have been with in previous lives, you would feel a connection to someone. So you might feel a very special connection to a best friend, where it feels a lot stronger than somewhere else, because you've probably been together somehow in a previous life. So when It's having the ability to trust that you're here for the right reasons. You're here for exactly what you need to be here for, and trust that every decision, everything you're going to do from this point on can only be right. And Spirit said to me, life is duality. So there's two sides of life. So you've got the free will to make the decisions and the choices that you want to make in your life, but you've already done this life. You've already finished this life. So I don't doubt anything now, because it's like, well, if I've done this life, I must have succeeded in it. So when you look at things from that point of view, so if you are obviously on your spiritual path, which you are because you're here and you're listening to this and communicating with us, this means you're on your spiritual path. So you don't have to trust yourself, because you are fully yourself. Okay, so just know that in yourself. So just affirm to yourself, I'm here for the right reasons. I know who I am, and I know where I'm going to go. If I don't know where I'm going to go, I'm going to be excited by what's coming anyway.
She said,
Beautiful.
I have a number of friends like that, especially in the last few years. So her tribe is starting to get together.
Perfect.
Hank was saying is that something I always wonder about soulmates, twin flames, etc. Does that mean you don't have really soul groups as people advance at different times?
Oh God, it's such a big life is such a big change, big flux of change. So you will have friends in your life for the set period of time that they're supposed to be in your life. Okay, so they might be. You go through, especially as a medium, you go through so many different friends. But it's learning to acknowledge that, okay, so I was friends with that person for that period of time. We've kind of grown distant, but I've had that friendship. But you might find as you progress with friends that you feel like you're not gelling, or you feel communication kind of starts to dwindle. And when I started my spiritual journey, it was very much, oh, I'm losing this friend, I'm losing that. I mean, I had like 30 or 40 close friends, but on my 30th birthday, I had 30 friends that I was really, really close to. Now I'm down to about 5 or 6, but it doesn't bother me, because life changes so much. And as you get older, you change so much as well. So just enjoy who you've got around you for now. Don't worry about how long they're going to be with you, because they are going to disappear at some point, whether it's to spirit or if they're just going to move away or something. All you can do is enjoy what you have now and just relish what you have now, because it will change, but it never changes for a bad. Even if they do end up going to the spirit world, they're still with you. So it's a win-win. You never lose anybody. You are officially, and I'm sorry to scare people, you are officially eternal. You will never, ever die. You just lose your human form. It just goes back to earth, and you go on another journey in the spirit world. And there it's amazing, apparently.
Well, she's saying you must be psychic, basically, because you've been
Yeah.
answering all her questions.
I am psychic. Yeah. This is the funny thing, because the questions that we're receiving now, these are all the questions that have been in our minds. You know, we all have this as we're progressing through our spiritual path. You know, and then to become a medium, to connect so close with spirit, they answer all your questions. But you know, you answer 10 questions, you'd have 1,000 more. They're always there, but that's what makes it so exciting. Definitely.
See, Kaylee, yes, trying my best to do that. I still find it so hard to not doubt everything when doing spiritual work, getting messages.
It's completely normal. Completely normal. We doubted everything in our journey. So yeah, doubt it. Enjoy the doubting, as weird as that might sound, because you're questioning everything. And that's what spiritual work is. You're questioning the norms and the status quo as it is in life. You know, you're looking at things from a different point of view, a different perspective, but you're not just looking at it with your eyes. You now got the spirit world helping you see things from a completely different point of view. And that's when things will just unfold and start to grow. And I don't know who you are, but I know your journey. I sense it now. Your journey is incredible, and you've got goosebumps as well, because you've had all your loved ones have just come in close to you. They're just giving you a big hug, and I know that they're just helping you on the next stage. All right.
Wow, Paul, it always amazes us that 1 hour just flies by in 2 seconds. We've been on a call for an hour. Do you have anything that you'd like to tell the listeners, like programs that you're doing or your seances or something like that?
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody, enjoy what you're doing. Because life is short. I mean, yeah, you're going to do it lots of times and it's going to be different every single time you do it. But just enjoy everything you're doing. You know, don't get too bogged down in daily life. Spirits say to me all of the time, and they've just given it to me, give it to me again now. Whatever you've got on your to-do list, however long your to-do list, take off as much as you can and replace it with joy. Because you're here to enjoy yourself. They don't want you to be here slaving away to pay the mortgage, to pay the bills. If you keep saying you don't want to spend something because you can't afford it, the universe is looking after you. The spirit world are looking after you. Spend it. Don't go crazy, but spend it. Enjoy it. And you will find that being replaced. And I found that so much with spirit. They are behind us 100%. All of your loved ones will only want the best for you. They won't ever judge you. They only come from the spirit world with a place of love and light. So if you are going off enjoying yourself for a weekend and it involves whatever, or you're doing something that other people might question, as long as it's not bad, you're not killing anybody, just do it and enjoy it. But know that they're never going to be judging you. So as long as it's right, inverted commas, then just enjoy it, because you know that's all you can do.
Thank you. And thank you all. We passed the hour. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Paul. And thanks from Open Mic UK. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you very much as well. I've loved it. Thank you.